Hello and welcome to another episode of Cut the Money Gap. Today we have extremely important topics to discuss with you because of how timely they are. And for today's episode, Brian is taking us through important data that he spent the last few weeks researching to share with us. Brian, what do you have in store for us today?
Well, Asil, I'm glad you asked. So we are going to be talking today about how to avoid the holiday money hangover. Most of us know that this can be the season for indulging and hangovers if you've had a little too much to drink the night before. But what a lot of people don't talk about and don't always realize is there's also a holiday money hangover that can happen. And what I mean by that is, you indulge a little too much at New Year's or on one of the holiday days, and you wake up the next morning with a hangover. But for a lot of people, they're going to wake up about a month after the holidays with a credit card hangover because they've overspent over the holiday season. And I think this year is going to be, it could be particularly worse because of all the stress and anxiety that we're feeling. We're not able to get together with family members to the same degree. So people are going to want to make up for that by buying presents, sending their grandkids and their nieces and nephews things. And yeah, it's going to be tough. And already in regular years, we hear that more than half of people feel pressure to overspend at the holidays, and that's in a normal year. So imagine what it's going to be like in this year where it is anything but normal. Now, in previous years, I have recommended that people do experiences instead of spending. So getting together, having experiences, but we're not going to be able to do that. So it's going to be hard to not be tempted to just spend, especially on the kids. Asil, did you have any thoughts around that?
Money is one of the tools people use to express love, but it's also a tool to soothe other feelings. So when we're feeling down, when we're feeling, sad or stressed, it's one of those things that we resolve in spending to soothe us in that particular emotion that we're experiencing. So, given how heightened our emotions are this year, it's going to be really interesting for people to reflect on their impulses to spend and reflect on their actions and behaviors. But really, this episode is to give them a heads up to expect these things so they can be proactive about what certain measures they need to put in place versus reactive when it's too late. Because why not try to avoid the problem versus stress about it when it's even here? We have enough
Yeah,
on our plate to worry about.
absolutely. And that's the whole point of talking about this, is making it a little bit more intentional for people, right? We all know that some cultures are already have already experienced their New Year's celebrations. Some are yet to experience it, but it makes absolutely no sense to be starting off the new year in debt or scrambling to figure out how am I going to pay my credit card bills. I mean, in that case, why would you want to start the new year behind the eight ball? The only people that are going to be winning in that situation are the ones that run the credit card companies. And given that 2021 is still probably going to be a challenging year, especially for the first few months, it just makes no sense whatsoever to add that additional stress onto your financial situation. It's time to be mindful and invest in the 2021 that you want to have, which is what I want to talk about. What does it look like to invest? And it might be a little bit different than a lot of you are thinking about in terms of investing. So let me give a little bit more detail about that. So, you know, here is something that I'm a big fan of experiences. So here's an activity or an experience that you could do on your own or with your family members, regardless of where they are in the world. And that is a goal creation exercise. Okay. So what would it look like if you set aside a couple of hours and sat down with, as I said, by yourself or with someone else and started to think about what would we like to create in 2021? What kind of goals would we like to shoot for? So it could be some examples like go on that dream vacation, move to a 4-day work week, renovations to the house, maybe building that backyard oasis. Think like hot tub, lounge chairs, stone barbecue and fire pit, right? What would be something that would be an investment in 2021 that would really enhance the quality of life for you and be one of those things that you've wanted to accomplish for a long time? I can tell you that for me in 2020, I wanted to finish my basement. I wanted to put a door on the side of my house, which my staircase is right there, and then finish the basement, which could eventually be turned into a suite for the next people that purchase this house from me. And even though we were in the middle of a global pandemic and lots of people were stressed out and lots of uncertainty, I still made that happen. I still renovated the basement. I put a sauna down there and a bathroom. I did cut the door in the side, and now I've got this finished suite that I can use in the meanwhile, and also elevates the value of my house in the future. So that was one of the things that I still invested in 2020. And now over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be sitting down and creating a plan for 2021 and what goals I want to accomplish this year. So Omar, I know you had a pretty exciting 2020 and you had some goals that you still managed to accomplish as well, even in the middle of this global pandemic. So share a little bit about how did you make that happen, even with all this stress and anxiety that was going on in the world?
Thank you, Brian. Yeah, it was a bit of a nerve-wracking experience to actually follow through with the plan that I'd set for 2020, which was to purchase a property, because the year before I had purchased a property as well for my mom. It was part of my goals for 2019. So how I managed to do that is I wanted to make sure that I was ready for this opportunity. I knew that a lot of the people during especially during the new trends that happened in COVID, where everybody started to purchase properties outside the city, I saw that there was an opportunity in the city, and I wanted to make sure that I was prepared for this opportunity. And I've been putting, for a long time, being self-employed is very difficult, and a lot of people who are listening who are self-employed will struggle with this experience where you don't have a specific income that comes in every month. So one of the big changes that I did was paying myself a salary sufficient enough that I can save money from. So 20% of the money that I pay to myself, I put towards a saving account. And it was through that I was able to be ready for the opportunity when it presented itself. And I had to take a bit of a stretch, to be quite honest with you, during COVID, because I saw the the opportunity was a lot bigger than I expected because of the trends, and I wanted to have a longer vision. I thought I can purchase something today, which was a great deal, versus purchasing it when everybody else is looking downtown. So that's how I made it happen. I had to plan in advance. It was part of my goals for this year, and it was something that I meditated on and tried to attract. And thankfully I did. I'm really, and it all goes to the prior planning that went into this.
I absolutely love that, Omar. And you just hit on all the things that I want to talk about in this episode and that we're focusing on. First of all, you had an intention. You created those goals for yourself. You set an intention around it, and you were focused on making that happen. Then you created a plan. You saw opportunity. You saw things that were going on. You started to maybe change the way you had been doing things, paying yourself a salary so you would be able to qualify for that mortgage, and then also setting some of that aside as a savings to use as a down payment. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Whether it is, doing something like that, a huge thing like buying a house, it could be as simple, I did some renos on my house. It could have been something simple like, hey, I'm saving up for the next time I can do a Caribbean vacation for $1,000. It doesn't have to be some massive thing, but the steps are exactly the same. All right. What about you, Asil? Did you have any goals, or do you have any goals for 2021 that you're starting to think about?
Well, I actually got engaged this year in 2020. So, a big part of 2021 for me is family planning that involves me thinking about what I want for my wedding. Well, if I want a wedding, even like that's even a question I'm starting to contemplate. What does that look like for me? Buying a home where my fiance and I can start and launch our family from. So, these are the major themes for me, but also on a professional level, I am certainly thinking about my business. As you know, I also launched my business in 2020. So I'm also looking to what kind of services and products and niches that I want to get to in 2021 to further clarify my impact and my mission. So it's a lot to think about, and I'm certainly excited about it for sure.
That's amazing. Fantastic. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how do you do this? What is a step-by-step process that you can do in order, for those listening to be able to do or watching to be able to do something similar? So the first thing is, creating that list of goals, or maybe it's just one or two goals, whatever. But then you want to decide on one that you're actually committing to happening in the next year. And now here's the thing. Lots of you have probably done goal setting before, but how many of you have actually figured out how much it's going to cost or how much time and effort is going to have to go towards it? Now, we've all got extra time right now, right? Everybody's looking for things to do at home, trapped, not as many other things to do. So you can't complain that you don't have time to do this. You've got access to the internet. You can start to do some research and get some more details around this, exactly what Asil was just talking about. So let's say, as an example, you decided, dream vacation. You know what? We've been talking about a dream family vacation to Europe or Asia or the Middle East for years and years now. Let's make that happen in 2021. The first thing you're going to do is do some research around that and try to figure out approximately how much it's going to cost. So let's say after your research, you're like, okay, about $8,000 is what we're going to come up with. Could be more, could be less. I just picked that as a number, based on maybe a family of 4 or 5 going on a big vacation with flights and hotels and all that sort of stuff. Okay, so let's say it's going to be $8,000. Well, then the next thing is, what could we do over the next 6 to 12 months that's going to generate an additional $8,000 above being able to pay our expenses? Because I know lots of people that are like, ooh, let's just put that vacation on the credit card and figure it out later. And that's reactive thinking. We want to be proactive, because I promise you, there's things you're going to be able to do. And we can't travel right now anyway. So why not start implementing that plan so that 6 to 12 months from now, when travel starts to pick up again, there's great deals, you're going to be in a position to be able to make this happen. And by the way, for those of you who didn't calculate it, if you were saving for 6 months to come to $8,000, that would be an extra 1333 per month over the next 6 months that you'd have to generate. And if you were to do it over 12 months, it would be $666.67 per month extra that you would have to generate. Now, how are you going to generate that? Well, that's where, again, get on some calls with your family members. Do this with the kids, right? Help them figure out what are some things to do. We've got extra time again. Maybe there's a little side hustle we can do. Maybe we find that we've been saving money because we're not going out for dinner. We didn't go traveling this year, all that sort of stuff. Or maybe all that money that you thought you were going to be, for the 70-inch 4K TV and the latest Xbox 6 and the earbuds, stuff that you're going to forget about 2 or 3 weeks after the holidays anyway. What if you were to take that money, apply it into some sort of savings account, high interest savings account, and then start to add more and build your way up to that particular dream vacation that you're going to go on when things open up later on this year, okay? Because I promise you, those other things, right? We're all investing in something, whether we know it or not. Some people are investing in their shoe collection. Some people are investing in their tech gadgets. Some people are investing in accessories for their cars. Everybody is investing in something, but what kind of returns are you getting from the things that you're investing in? Now, I know, Omar, when you were looking at getting a house, that's the kind of thing that you were looking at, right? Is what are the long-term returns? You talked about like playing the long game, right? So when you look at these types of things, how do you calculate returns?
Absolutely. I look into the data. Brian, and I see how much, other people who have done this have collected over the years, and it gives me an idea. And I can compare investing in something over and investing in something else. And it's, real estate has been my go-to for the most part in investments, but we also make some decisions sometimes. I mean, like you said, a vacation is definitely, a something that replenishes you and gets you going. So at the beginning of every year, and I think me and Asil actually, we had the chance to meet up with some friends, and we did an exercise where we came out and wrote down the goals that we wanted to achieve for the year. Some of which are investments in ourselves, some of which are investments in our lifestyle, some of which are investments in our future, and it creates a lot of certainty when you know. First of all, you can depict what a compelling life looks like for you, and then building up to what it would cost to make that happen, and what tools you need to make that expense at the time.
I love this, Omar, because the exact next thing I was going to talk about is investing is more than just doing things that are going to return money. You can invest in your dreams. You can invest in education, like you just heard Omar talk about. You can invest in your freedom and the quality of time through maybe a side business, or like I said, going to 4 days a week. Investing in you, your goals, your life, your family. I talked about investing in experiences with your family. So, instead of, again, buying Xboxes and TVs and all this sort of stuff that the credit card companies would love you to be investing in, what would it look like to invest in time and experiences with your family and leave a legacy of showing your kids, your grandkids, your nieces, your nephews, what does it look like if they plan for these types of things, if they intentionally set these goals, work towards them, generate extra money and savings in order to be able to do this and not put themselves in a place of debt. This is what wealth creation actually looks like. It's about enhancing your life. It's about making memories. It's creating the life you want instead of mindless consumerism and being stuck in a debt cycle that the credit card companies want to keep you in so that, their goals are getting realized, right? So, I love this as a theme. I think it's amazing for us to talk about it. And I want to give one more example or strategy of what people can do, because here's the thing, you can still spend some money and get some gifts and enjoy the giving season right now, but we can do that with some boundaries or some limits. So I'm going to give a cool strategy that I saw recently, but Asil, again, what are you hearing from clients around how they're approaching the holiday season and how people are feeling right now? Are people hopeful and excited about the holidays, or are they more stressed and feeling anxiety?
Well, these are unprecedented times, and holidays generally were reasons that people feel stressed and anxious anyway. So the fact that we're dealing with really a lot of unknown factors, and the fact that we still don't know what to expect for the year to come, so planning is difficult. So I gave you an example about, like, I was planning to get married next year, but how the hell do I plan for that when I don't know what to expect? And a lot of people are thinking the same way, like, how do I plan for next year when this year was very much living day by day and not knowing what to expect next. However, the tools you're giving us is amazing, Brian, to try to ground us, bring us back to the here and now, because we talked about anxiety in previous episodes about it being very future oriented and catastrophic. So it's very important to come back to the present time and think about what are the things that we can control, because we can't control what's around us, but we can control the impact that it has on our lives. And that's what I always remind my clients. So even though everybody is anxious and stressed and worried, there are strategies to cope and make the most out of the situation.
Love that. Love that. Omar, did you have something you wanted to say?
Yeah, I wanted to also mention one thing. I mean, it's not bad to invest in your relationships, right? It's not bad to invest in your relationships, and the value that you're bringing, Brian. I think, I don't know if people realize, but it's so profound, because I think what you're saying, Brian, is that people should not feel obligated to do things that they cannot do. It should be coming from a place of pleasure where you're planning this out. We're just having a major event that we're investing in our relationships with our clients, because we know that that's what gives us happiness. That's what gives us kind of a meaning. That's what gives us motivation. And that's what gives them a realization that we do care about them, right? So it's not wrong to invest in your client, in your friends, in your family. These are the most valuable things in people's lives, but don't feel like you're obligated. Don't feel like it's something like you said, Brian. I loved what you said. Some people feel like they want to try to supplement their lack of ability of being able to see people. They want to supplement that by giving them, you know, a big gift or whatnot, and that's an emotion that that's probably not going to serve you, where you feel like you're reactive instead of you being in control and in the driver's seat.
Absolutely. And ironically, what people are most starved for is connection right now, right? It's they're trying to then supplement that by buying themselves presents or buying other people presents. But what people want from you more than anything is connection, right? So again, though, you still want to buy some presents, and that's okay, right? Going back to what Seal said, and I really enjoy that. There's the future, and that's where a lot of anxiety comes from, right? So 2021 is going to take care of itself. We certainly found out in 2020 that, you know, we don't know what's going to happen. But as we pointed out, you can still make goals happen. All three of us had things that we identified and wanted to accomplish in 2020 that we still did because of careful planning. Okay, so that's the whole point of this goals exercise. But then over the next few weeks, the holiday season, what can you do so that you can still give, you can still enjoy in the holidays, but not wind up with that holiday hangover afterwards, the holiday money hangover? So here's a cool strategy that I saw that I really liked. So, and everybody here can do this. So you get a bunch of sticky notes. Chances are somebody's got a pad of these stickies lying around the house somewhere. You get a bunch of stickies, you stick them up on the wall or the fridge or something like that, and you write on each sticky the name of somebody that you want to get a gift for this year. Okay, so maybe that's 5 people, maybe that's 25 people, whatever. So you identify all those people. Then you come up with a maximum amount, and you might have to do a little financial, you know, searching or research or a snapshot on yourself to decide what's an amount of money that is not going to put me in a negative debt situation after the holidays. So let's say, for example, that was $500. I knew that if I spent $500 on gifts, I'd still be okay, and that would feel like I would still be able to, you know, participate in the giving season. Well, then I, you know, break up that $500 amongst the people on my list. Now, you probably don't want to show them this list, right? As you're going through it, this is just for you, okay? You don't want uncles and aunt be like, why was I only $5 and your aunt was $25? Oh, I like her more. That's the bottom line. No, don't do that. But so let's say, for example, I had, you know, 5 people that I wanted to buy a $50 gift for. That's $250. And then I might have another 10 people that I wanted to buy $25 gifts for. That's another $250. So I've spread it out across 15 people, my $500, I've got their name and I've got a dollar amount. Now I can start to go looking for gifts, do some research. Again, we've got lots of time, lots of online shopping this year, and start to look for some gifts, which I still think are a good, you know, it's a good match for the person. And there's all kinds of sales going on. So then you write in the present once you find it and approximately how much it is. And maybe you even order it right on the spot. Now, maybe I only spend $20 on one person instead of 25. Well, now I can take that $5 and possibly move it to somebody else if I find a gift that's $30 rather than 25 that I think. But I basically manage it using these sticky notes and get all the gifts for everybody, stay inside of my budget, and still participate in the giving season and give gifts that, you know, hopefully people are going to like and enjoy. Anybody who's followed me for a while knows that this hits on my buttons of intentionality, planning, and staying within those, you know, those financial boundaries, so you're set up in a good place going forward. So, you know, I love this idea. I wanted to share it with you guys. You still get to be in the holiday giving season, but you're not going to wind up with that holiday money hangover come January when the credit card bill comes in. Asil and Omar, any sort of last minute tips or strategies that you guys are utilizing for the holidays?
I have a lot to share, but I guess it's a good time to wrap up because in my episode, I'm going to be going through these things as well. So I'll leave mine to share with the audience shortly.
How about you, Omar? Any strategies that you have for gift giving this time of year?
I was, you know, I've set up a few must give gifts that I already purchased in advance, and I really like the strategy that you're proposing, so I'm going to adopt it. I'm going to go buy myself a gift of a sticky note, and then and then figure out who's going to get my division of a budget. No, I think it's a great idea. I loved your session, Brian. Thank you for putting light on this subject. And Asil, as you had said, I can't wait to hear your part. I hope everybody is having a great session. Brian, any closing remarks?
Yeah, the only thing I wanted to say is we'd love to hear from you. So first of all, for those of you who do the goals exercise, feel free to share under this episode or in future, or send us a message about what are your goals for 2021. And if you have any strategies for getting through the holiday season and managing to, stay within some sort of a budget or boundary, yet still make the most of the holiday season and have a wonderful experience, we'd love to hear that too. And the rest of our listeners would. So that's it. We can wrap up.
Have a great session, or not session, day or night, whatever it is that you're listening. Take care.